Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the MLG Spring Arena. We're about to jump into a ZVP with Startail Parting taking on Empire Violet. I'm DJ Wheat.
And I'm Rob Simpson, and this ZVP is going to be explosive, man. We've seen Violet has just been on an absolute tear. Right, yesterday we weren't like too sure how well he was going to do, but today, man, he has just been on fire. Same thing with Parting. Parting was off to a rough start.
He was, and you know, even him. I saw his Twitter this morning. He said, "Today I only want to win." And,
oh yeah,
you know,
saying that he's actually like going to win the event, right?
Yeah. He was definitely having a change of attitude after a few rough games, and I'll tell you what, Violet this morning. We need to really give some attention to his early victory today because he took out MC, and this was the first time in Violet's career that he was able to beat MC, having met him several times. So, you know, MC just defeated Marine King Prime here on the Central stream 2-1. So, I mean, the results are not necessarily like A beats C,
which must mean
exactly.
Violet's got to be the man. Violet's going to win. That's it, right there.
So, this is a really telling matchup because for Parting, it does solidify. Are you back for today? Did you come for day 2 Parting? And for Violet, you know, to me, I think Violet has been one of the most improved players over the course of the last few months.
Absolutely.
And he continues to prove it here to all of us.
Right, and this is going to be, yet again, another platform for him to prove it. I believe both of the players are just about good to go, so we are going to be able to get into game number 1. And is Parting going to be able to handle this, or is Parting going into this knowing that his opponent beat MC earlier today, just thinking like, oh man, I don't know.
I mean, I don't know that you can really like look at those results. I think that maybe.
Oh, well, I mean, you certainly shouldn't.
Yeah,
right?
you shouldn't, right? You don't want to psych yourself out. If I was Violet, I'd be thinking, okay, I have a lot more confidence going into this. You know, I defeated MC 2-1 earlier. If I can pull off a 2-1 victory again versus Parting, that'd be a hell of a result coming out of this. And guys, we are live in this game over on the Analyst desk in between matches. We're going to be going over to Axe Lab and Chef. Thank you guys for joining us, but let's introduce our players here in the northeast position as the Red Zerg. It is Empire Violet.
And his opponent repping Team Startail, playing as the Blue Protoss. This is Parting.
Now, Parting, I think, is probably the one player. You know, we talk about what we expect out of the players, and a lot of people, Artosis, Slasher, Tasteless, even people on the net were saying Parting is the guy. He's this is his event to win. And day 1 didn't quite go the way that he would have liked it to. But he's certainly, you know, been turning up the heat a little bit here in day 2. And I don't know if that is because he saw the numerous ties that we had coming into day 2 and the fact that if he didn't squeak out a few extra wins, he might fall short of that top 4. But I did talk to Juani this morning, who told me that Parting was very concerned about making the top 4, even if he didn't win the event, making the top 4 because he knows how difficult the Korean qualifier is going to be for the spring, taking it in the spring championship.
Well, getting into top 4 not only means that you get paid, right, which that's already nice, but that also means that you already get invited into Spring Arena number 2.
Yep.
And in addition to that, you're already into pool play at MLG.
Exactly. And you know what? Getting it and doing it here amongst a pool of 8 players who are really remarkable, much easier than suddenly a bracket that's got Nesty, MVP, Puzzle, you know, all of these other Code S players that essentially will be trying to fight for that same position that you are. So because of that motivation alone, Rob, I feel like Parting is definitely going to turn it up. But again, I just cannot ignore how amazing Violet has been playing as of late.
Oh, man, and actually Parting was doing a great job over there, just holding off a little bit of that natural trying to go down, just delaying Violet ever so slightly. So he actually had all the way up to almost about 200 extra minerals there when he's finally able to put down that hatchery. Now, he did go pool first, and meanwhile, back over in Parting's base, he actually went straight up Nexus first. So we'll see if Violet's going to be able to capitalize on that at all. Of course, followed up by the Forge and his Gateway.
Yeah, and you know, talking a little bit about that, I had a great discussion with Grubby during Violet's game versus MC about how Violet is kind of this interesting player who's got such a diverse ability to change his style. You know, he's not necessarily like a DRG where he's very meticulous and goes for one particular thing. He does mix it up, but we saw Violet go with some heavy the aggression versus Marine King Prime that worked out great.
Oh, yeah.
You know, we saw him do a lot of very intelligent drops into the main with nothing but lings, you know, just knowing that now's the time that he's not going to be able to warp in and defend his main. And a lot of these really intelligent decisions have lent itself to, you know, ultimately victory for Violet. So parting, what I'm looking for here is he going to be going with mainly 2-base plays? Is he going to be trying to take it to the longer macro game, which he's definitely capable of playing? I mean, if we look at what he did yesterday, he might just stick to kind of these 2-base aggressive attacks here, but we're just going to have to wait and see.
And we actually just saw, so Parting was able to get over there and get a bunch of information. He did see that Violet has thrown down his third, got over there just in time to catch that. Oh, wow. And actually out at the natural of Parting, we see him starting that Stargate. Oh, wow, but we see Violet just getting all the information. Yeah,
I mean, that Overlord Scout, it's something Violet's been putting it right here at the front, inside, and of course he does spot that Stargate right there. The third base is about ready to finish up here, and well, as he approaches, how many drones is he up to? About 33 right now. We still have no gas here from Violet, and there we go, the first extractor being thrown down. He's going to also throw down an extractor at the natural as well, and this is something that we're seeing more Zergs mix up a little bit. Take 2 gases in the main, maybe not. Take 1 gas at your main, 1 gas at your natural. There's actually a lot of benefits. A, you could throw your opponent off a little bit. If they're looking, they might just see, well, he's on 1 gas here or 1 gas here. But the other thing too is that you don't necessarily just lose 6 drones to gas in your main. You can keep a maximum of saturation and spread those gases out a little bit. But we are going to have the Evo chamber go down. I assume that the Roach Warren, is it actually there? I mean, the Evo chamber came a little bit later because he knew about how much time he had seeing that Stargate go up. He should be able to get down the spores in time, but no Roach Warren quite yet. Just continuing to drone, getting more queens, and this is going to be you know, a viable way to deal with this.
And now, so in my talking with Grubby earlier, he was talking about just how intelligent Violet is, and that essentially when you see a Protoss player get out and go for their Stargate, a lot of what the Zerg player does is entirely based on how many units when he sees them out of that Stargate. Like if he sees just that Void Ray, chances are that he's not going to be able to make too much of a decision based on that. But if he sees like a Void Ray and a Phoenix, and just immediately assumes that there's going to be plenty of Phoenixes, he can just drone so hard, because really you can macro so heavily behind that any losses that you take from Phoenix play can just end up hurting you. So really what I want to see Parting do here is take advantage of how Violet's going to respond to that information. I want him to feign that he's going to do some kind of Phoenix harass and instead follow up with a large gateway push. And actually it's looking like he has, man, just about 6 gates almost done over there.
Yeah, he originally threw down the 2 and then 2 more near the main nexus, or rather the opposite way, and then he threw down those additional 2. So I don't know that we're going to see too many more units out of the Stargate, at least for a little bit here. The Void Ray knows that it's not going to be able to go in and do a whole lot of damage. So the Phoenixes, they can do some Overlord crowd control across the map, but it looks like it's just going to be the buddy system here with this 1 Phoenix and the 1 Void Ray. And now we do have this little force pushing out just a little bit. There are a few lings, so keep in mind these are still slow lings going through the middle. They do not want to get caught in force fields. He cannot really afford to lose these. He's going to try to pick off that Stalker, and the lings start to escape. Is he going to take out the probe? Doesn't matter, because the pylon's going to get down.
So that's pretty good to go from Parting. Now, we saw that when Parting got out there, as soon as Violet saw just that Void Ray and just the Phoenix, he went for another large round of drones, which means that he doesn't have as many units out as he would like. But fortunately enough, we saw Violet come out with a lot of those Zerglings, so he did see the large force that was coming out from Parting. And now, oh man, if we see Parting able to get out there and catch those queens out of position, this could be bad news for him. Oh, some nice force fields, keeping him out of range right there. He wants to clear out that spine crawler before he follows up with the Void Ray.
Yeah, he's going to have to give up that base, and that's exactly what he does. He lets a few roaches go ahead and die. He doesn't even, it was not even able to take out a single sentry. And this is going to be a pretty big blow here for Violet, losing that third. He's got a lot of larvae to work with there, and it looks like a queen might fall as well. But he did bait out a lot of force fields. Just taking a quick look at there's still a lot of force fields remaining. question is now off 2 base, how is exactly he going to deal with this? He's got to defend, and then of course he's got to be able to recover from it as well. And you know, Parting may not even choose to attack here. The damage has already been done, so why not just move back?
Yeah, if Parting's able to get in there and get it back into an even base scenario, like why bother trying to push that advantage? We already see that right now Violet's preparing with additional spine crawlers. He has enough units up there. He also had the queens with the transfuse as well, so even if it looks like he was going to win a battle, there's still a chance that Violet could have just like out-microed there and crushed through him, whereas now Parting has a pretty nice window of opportunity. He can start placing a few more pylons around the map, so he has a lot of attack options. He can stay active with that Void Ray as well, and he can choose to go back and take his third.
Yeah, and he actually has taken his third. The Overlord's going to try to drop some creep just to delay this third of Parting by a little bit. It's quickly taken out now. Queen's going to finally try to get rid of that Void Ray, and he gets away with 7 hit points, and it's an unfortunate victory there for Violet. He definitely would have loved to just get rid of that Void Ray off of the field. Let's take a look at the tech paths that are going on now, because obviously the Stargate not so much in play. We are seeing Blink out of the Twilight Council. We're seeing +1 armor for the Protoss. He does already have a +1 attack, so he will be at 1-1 here shortly. But the Infestors are now starting to come out. Pathogen Glands finished, which means we're probably going to be seeing that lair pretty soon, but it will be delayed because that third went down.
Yeah, his hive is going to be just a little bit behind. It's all good. We know exactly what's going on. Because really, he's going to ultimately want to make it all the way up to those Broodlords, right? So he's going to need those Infestors to try to buy as much time. And man, Violet, being the brainy individual that he is, able to just drone so hard behind us, knowing that Parting's trying to establish that third. He's not going to be terribly active on the map, so he's going to capitalize.
Yeah, now one thing that we saw Violet do versus MC because of the position that he was in economically in the game was Violet did not take the southeast expansion versus MC. Instead, he chose to go with this expansion in the middle and already begin his spine crawler wall so he could set up his Broodlords there and really, you know, have a nice little force to defend against a push. However, because that third went down, that kind of put Violet behind in a lot of different aspects, and so he can't just comfortably take this knowing that he's well off from his hive. It's now up. The spire wasn't down yet, and this is actually a perfect time, I think, for Parting to attack here. Yeah, in fact, where are the Infestors? Are they still okay? They're all back at the base.
Yeah, right outside of that natural over there. And now if he's able to get in here and land a couple of these really big fungals, this could be huge for him. But oh man, the force fields are doing such a good job just keeping those Infestors out of range, also being sure to cut the army in half. And now Parting's looking in a pretty vicious position.
Yeah, I mean, right now Violet doesn't have Burrow. He, you know, he's got minimal upgrades here on his ground force. He is currently sitting at 1-0, choosing to go with that Carapace first. And here we go, a nice little fungal on top of the Zealots and the Sentries. He's going to split up his Roaches here just a little bit, but there are just so many Stalkers. 32 Zerglings are on the way out. There's still quite a few fungals remaining, but he really needs the ground force in order to make this completely work. There's still a lot of shields there on top of those Stalkers, and had he had a few more spine crawlers, this may have gone more in Violet's favor, but you can see the Infestors are moving back, and he is going to have to retreat just a little bit. All of the Sentries except for 2 are dead, but those 2 are all he needs in order to force field, and Parting may be able to go in for a killing blow here.
Oh man, those Infestors were actually just a few energy away from getting off another fungal. Of course, as that next wave of Lings comes out, it may just be too little too late, and if Parting's able to follow up with this assault, it's seeming as though Violet taking that fourth may have just been at exactly the wrong time for him.
Yeah, here comes some more spine crawlers to come in and try to defend. The Zerglings now come in, but Parting very smartly brings some Zealots into the mix. There's no more fungals left on those Infestors, and unfortunately there are just so many Stalkers at this point. The drones are coming out. It looks like Parting is going to be awarded victory here in game number 1. Violet trying to hold on as much as he can, but I feel like the loss of that third really kind of set Violet away from his path, and Parting was able to, you know, not overbuild on his Stargate and really push with the Gateway and Blink follow-up.
During that one last exchange, we saw just how much energy those Infestors had, and it was unfortunate that Violet wasn't able to hold off the attack for just a little bit longer, right? We can see right now, I mean, the Greater Spire is just about to finish up. If he had just been able to swing that battle in his favor a little bit more, I feel like Broodlords could have been his.
Yeah, and again, it comes down to if you can defend that center and really, really control where the Protoss can come from, you know, because keep in mind there are the rocks in the middle, so that was the only path that Parting was going to be able to attack from. And now all the Zerglings stuck on the ramp. The Fungals are going down. More Fungals. The Infestors are falling as well, but it's just going to be too little too late. And GG, game 1 goes to Startail Parting.
Man, so a really awesome performance out of Parting there. He made sure to keep the game in his favor. Violet got out there. He took the third pretty quickly and was just able to stick with it. So let's hear from the analysts over at the decks. Axlav, Sheth, man, what do you guys think about that match?
I think Violet made a couple macro errors early, which caused them to have to sacrifice that third, which was a correct decision at that point. But I think what really put the nail in the coffin was when he tried to engage that Blink Stalker Sentry army through the choke. He had more creep, he had a good concave. If he just backed up about 5-6 tiles back further, he would have had about twice the many units in action. His Infestors would have had good angles, but a little bit overeager there to get at that Protoss army. Yeah, that's definitely the main issue. That, and if he saw the Protoss was coming at him so hard there, like you said, he was attempting to get Broodlords. And that's kind of why maybe he didn't have as much. And he had a whole bunch of Lings rallied out, but he kind of hit before they were all out and ready to help come around from a whole bunch of different angles. And you have to be able to use those angles if you're a Zerg. I've always felt like, for me personally, if I can get a good surround with Zerglings, it's like the best feeling ever. I don't know. What do you think, DJ Wheat? How was that?
Well, I mean, you're right. It is the best feeling ever, by the way, Sheth. But, and, you know, when you don't have those rocks down, when you don't have the creep spread there in the middle, like as a Zerg, and you tell me, Sheth, it seems like most games are won by the Zerg the moment that they take a dominance over that sort of central area, and then they're able to push forward. But, you know, he just wasn't quite ready, and Party just kind of walked in and wrecked the party a little bit early for Violet, I feel like.
It was definitely a great timing on Parting's part, and he had to do some damage there. He had no Templar tech, no Colossi tech, no Mothership tech, so he really had to get in there and do some damage before the Broodlords came out, and he ended the game, so it obviously was enough damage done.
Chose the right spot, didn't engage where the spines were, ended it well.
Yeah,
so,
if it had only been just like a few moments longer, really, he wouldn't have had much of a
And don't we always say, we've all been in that position, you know, if only I had a few more moments left, it's like, yeah, but Parting wasn't about to wait a few more moments. So that was the right decision. Parting played a great game. Now we're hopping into game number 2 here, guys. We're on Tal'Darim Altar. I don't even think I've seen this map all tournament. Where'd this come from?
I've seen it like once.
Yeah.
Oh, man. So here, getting into the game, playing in the upper left-hand corner of the screen, representing Team Startail, warping